Hello and welcome to the My School channel. My name is Angela, and in this video we're going to continue the government topic by topic video lesson. So we're moving on to a new topic titled local government, where we're going to discuss the third tier of government, also known as the grassroots level government. So please stay with us, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the My School channel. Like I said earlier, we're moving on to local government, so let's dive right into it. Alright, so here's a list of the things we're going to be discussing. We're going to define local government, discuss the rationale for the creation of local government. We're going to discuss the management structures, the powers, the functions, the sources of revenue of local government, control of local government, problems, and the solution to the problems of the local government. So let's begin with the definition. Alright, local government is the third tier of government, established through an act of parliament and created at the grassroots level to address the specific needs of the community in a defined geographical area. So a lot of things are very important in your definition. First of all, it is the third tier of governments. At the first tier, we have the federal, then we have the state governments, and now we have the local governments. It is also established through an act of parliament. That means it is the legislature that brings the local government into being. Okay, so it is created at the grassroots level. That means it is created at the bottom of the society so that everybody can be engaged in the affairs of governing the states. So you have a government right there in your community. Then it is also created to address specific needs of a particular community in a particular area, a defined geographical area. So within a community, you have a government that you can lay your complaints to, who can address the specific needs, the things that you need in that community. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, according to the United Nations Division of Public Administration, local government is a political division of a nation which is constituted by law, in this case by an act of parliament, and has substantial control of local affairs, including the powers to impose taxes or exact labor for prescribed purposes. So this is the definition given by the United Nations. This means that most countries of the world have this third tier of government. It's a very necessary part of the government of a society. So the governing body of such an entity is elected or otherwise locally selected. So the local government in a particular society can either be elected or be appointed by other bodies within that society. So either through election or through appointments. Now let's move on to the next slide. Alright, so what is the rationale for the creation of local governments? Why do we need a local government in a particular society? One of the reasons is that it helps to bring government closer to the people. So local governments are created to ensure that governance is accessible to citizens at the grassroots level. By being closer to the people, local governments can respond more swiftly and effectively to local needs, such as infrastructure, education, healthcare, and sanitation. So there are various things that we need within the society, and we need a government to handle all of those things. We talked about the provision of infrastructure and other important needs in the society as one of the duties of the government. They provide all of these things to the people. And then you need someone who is very close to the people to be able to provide these services. If they are far away, they will not be able to address the specific needs of a particular community. So we need a government closer to the people. Also, local government is created for the purpose of promotion of local participation and democracy. So local governments encourage community participation in decision-making processes. Citizens can engage more easily with their elected representatives. They can participate in council meetings and influence decisions that affect their daily lives. So it helps to increase local participation. The common people can actually participate in the affairs of governing the states. There is also efficient service delivery. So the formation of local governments enables the provision of essential services, e.g. waste management, water supply, road maintenance, tailored to the specific needs of the local community, and this ensures that services are more responsive to local demands, unlike a central government that may not understand the unique challenges of every locality. So every community has a government that can actually produce those services that that community needs. It provides the needs of that particular community. Then another rationale behind the creation of local governments is the decentralization of power. Local governments help to decentralize power from the central or state governments, and this helps to prevent the overconcentration of authority. It promotes a more balanced distribution of power and reduces the administrative burden on higher levels of government. We've talked about decentralization as one of the very important things we need in a democratic society. When power is concentrated at the central level, it can lead to the abuse of power. But when you decentralize power, there will be no abuse of power. Each of the different levels of government can check one another to ensure that no one single body is taking advantage of the citizens within that community. So decentralization is very necessary in a democratic society, and local government helps to do that. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, so we're going to discuss the management structures of local government. So we have three different models, three different ways by which local governments can be structured in a society. We have the mayoral model, the conciliar model, and the managerial model. So let's begin with the mayoral model. So the mayoral model is similar to the presidential system of government. We talked about the presidential system of government, whereby there is clear separation of power, and then we have one leader at the executive arm of government, who is both head of state and head of government. So the legislature and the executive are not fused, they are separate from one another. So the mayoral model subscribes to this system of government. It has both the chief executive, which is known as the mayor or councillor, or in our case here in Nigeria, the local government chairman. So he is responsible for the day-to-day operations and policy creation. So he performs executive functions. Then we also have a council that acts as the legislature and is responsible for budgetary decisions and creating bylaws. So there is no fusion of the legislature and the executive in this case. So these officials are directly elected by the people for a fixed term of office. So here in Nigeria, the local government chairmen have 3 years to stay in office, after which a local government election is conducted. So this model is used here in Nigeria and then also in New York and London. Okay, so now let's move on to the conciliar model. So this conciliar model is similar to the cabinet system of government. Again, cabinet system of government, here you have the fusion of the legislature and the executive, and also the executive leader is not both head of state and head of government. But in this case, we don't talk about the difference between the head of state and head of government. In this case, we are talking about the administration of the local government. So in this system, a locally elected council holds both legislative and executive authority. There is a fusion of these different arms of government. They are responsible for making decisions collaboratively. They delegate administrative responsibility to senior civil servants or committees. So here, there's a fusion. Examples of countries with this model are Britain. So apart from London, all other parts of the United Kingdom practices the conciliar model. Then we also have Germany. Germany practices the conciliar model as well. Then we have the managerial model. The managerial arrangement or council manager system combines a politically elected council with a professional manager. So here, the elected council sets policies and goals and appoints a manager who implements this policy. This manager is not elected by the people. It is the council that employs this manager to implement the policies that have been made by the council. So this manager is expected to be a professional and to work full-time at the pleasure of the council. So this pattern is employed in most American and Canadian states. Now let's move on to the next slide. All right, we're going to discuss the powers of the local government. One of the powers of the local government is legislative power. Local governments have the authority to make and enforce bylaws. Remember, bylaws are types of delegated legislation. That means it is not made by the legislative arm of government. It is made by the executive arm of government, and they are meant to make laws on behalf of the legislature, especially when it regards technical matters, things that the legislature cannot make laws for. So in this case, the local government makes bylaws that pertain to local matters such as sanitation, building codes, traffic control, and waste management. Again, they have to make laws on these particular issues because the legislature may not understand the specific needs of that community. So they delegate this power to the local government to make laws that are specific to their community. These legislative powers allow the local government to create rules specific to their jurisdiction. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, and that power of the local government is executive power. Local governments execute and implement the laws and policies passed by the local council. So this includes running essential services like waste disposal, road maintenance, and water supply. So they make bylaws relating to this. And the local government chairman, in this case, help to implement some of these laws that have been made by the local council. So all of these laws are in regards to those things that the local government controls: waste disposal, maintenance of the roads, water supply. The local government oversees the daily administration of its jurisdiction and ensure that policies are effectively implemented to meet the needs of the community. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, they also have financial powers. Local governments have the power to generate revenue through taxes, levies, and fees. So common examples include property taxes, business taxes, market tolls, and user fees for certain services, e.g. waste collection. So when they come to collect waste in different houses in the community, they collect levies in order to continue to provide these services. So they generate revenue after collecting this waste. Also, people in the markets, when they rent stores, they also pay certain levies in order to be able to use stores in local government markets. So this levies is also a source of revenue for the government. So they also have the power to prepare budgets, to allocate funds and manage expenditures for local projects within the community. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, they also have developmental powers. Local governments are responsible for the planning and development of their areas. They can approve building plans, allocate land for development, and manage local infrastructure projects such as road construction, building of schools, and market development, and this ensures orderly and sustainable growth of their jurisdiction. Although they may not have the revenue necessary to do this, they get revenue from the federal and the state governments to do this, but they manage these developmental projects when they are building schools within the local governments, when they are constructing roads and developing markets. They ensure that they manage the project in order for it to be completed. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, we also have administrative powers. Local governments handle the recruitment, the employment and management of local staff. They administer local public services and manage the affairs of their councils and other agencies under their control. So they may also be involved in law enforcement on a local level through the establishment of community policing or local security. So all of this staff under the local government is administered by the local government chairman and the council as well. So they help to make sure that they recruit the right people, and they help to make sure that they continue to perform their duties on a day-to-day basis. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, they also have judicial power. So in some jurisdictions, local governments have the authority to establish and operate local courts. These local courts are called customary courts. They are the lowest level of the judicial system. So they help to handle minor disputes or violations of local bylaws, not major violations within the country, just violations of the bylaws that have been created by the council. So these courts operate within the framework of national law and focus on resolving issues such as land disputes or community disagreements. So these are the functions of these customary courts, and it is under the jurisdiction of the local governments. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, and that power of the local government is public health and safety powers. Local governments are often responsible for providing public health services, including managing hospitals, clinics, and sanitation systems. They also ensure safety through fire services, emergency response teams, and local disaster management agencies. So public health campaigns, vaccinations, and clean water initiatives are often administered locally. So the local government also helps to ensure that the public is sanitized, is very safe for public use, especially when it comes to the hospitals, the clinics, and even the roads. They also conduct awareness campaigns to ensure that the public continues to adhere to public health and safety regulations. So we've come to the end of this segment of the video lesson. I believe it was educative and enlightening. If you would like to continue on this journey with us, please go down to the link in the description below. This takes you to my school website where you can subscribe for the government topic by topic video lesson. There you can continue on this journey with us. So we are going to move on to the functions of local government. We are going to discuss the control of local government and the sources of revenue of local governments. How did local government get the money that they need to perform their day-to-day operations? So I hope to see you there. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the notification bell to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.